Larry, with all the challenges the state has experienced recently, why would you want to run for the Assembly?
There's a lot of reasons for that. I think the preeminent reason is that California is a great state. It is a fabulous state, and right now, with all the challenges, economic and otherwise, that we have, it's kind of easy to forget that. But we have a wonderful University of California system. We have a wonderful educational system that includes community colleges and Cal States. Our public education system has a lot of challenges, but if you look around the state, and historically what has made it great, from the wonderful state parks that we have and our access to beaches and oceans and mountains, I think this is a fabulous place to live. And I want to try to be helpful to see that that continues. I've been involved in public service all my life. I think it's important, and I think that this is an incredibly historic period of time that we're living in. And I think it takes everyone doing what they can to try to ensure that the things that have made this state so good are going to continue to evolve as we go forward.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how that experience has prepared you for the Assembly.
You know, Jim, I have been involved most recently with education. I was elected to the San Juan School Board, which is the 12th largest school district in the state, in 2004. I've been elected twice. I've served as board president, and I'm deeply passionate about the role that education plays. It's just so critical that every child in our state be given the opportunity to do the best that they can and receive the best education that they can. But beyond that, I've been involved in business. I've been involved as an attorney for over 30 years. I've served as a mediator where I try to help people resolve conflict. And I think those kinds of skills would be very helpful in the state legislature right now.
You mentioned your work on the San Juan Unified School Board since 2004. Tell us about some of the challenges facing public education in California.
You know, right now, like everything else in California, certainly the fiscal challenge has been paramount. We've worked very hard to maintain the fiscal integrity of the San Juan School District with, I think, pretty good success. But right now, California, prior to this budget year, many people said was about 46 in the state with respect to our per capita funding per student. So we're not doing a very good job of providing funds for public education. With a $4 billion cut this year in the state budget, we're probably closer to 48 when the numbers finally come in. So, you know, if we were funding education a little bit more, we could be talking about a greater success in infusing technology in instruction, about bringing the instructional environment into the 21st century, about providing career technical education, and most importantly, about helping the teacher in the classroom. Professional development is so significant because at the end of the day, I'm not a very trendy guy. I'm a pretty basics kind of guy, and it's all about supporting the teacher in the classroom and putting that instructional excellence in front of kids and letting them do their best.
Now, many people think the state legislature really is quite dysfunctional. Is there anything that you see that people can do about that?
You know, I think that's a great question. I respect people who are in public service, whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent. I really admire people who are willing to contribute to their community or their state in whatever way they can. Part of the reason that the state legislature has been so dysfunctional, and frankly, it's kind of popular to attack them and call them names, but the reality is that it's systemically very difficult to get things done when you have to have 2/3 of a group agree on something. I'm not sure that we could get 2/3 of the folks in any given room to agree on where to go to a restaurant or a movie, much less deal and address all of the kinds of issues that confront the state. So I think that systemically, we could have a much more functional government, because since we're only one of 3 states in the United States that has this 2/3 requirement, we're one of only 3 states. If we could modify that a bit and maybe have it 55% or something like that to get a state budget, one of the things that would do is you wouldn't have this notion of every person as a kingmaker, where, you know, I'll vote for the budget if you do this, or I'll vote for the budget if you do that. So I think that's really the most significant reform that we could do that would allow the state to function much more readily. And then beyond that, we have to get into some systemic changes in terms of funding, in terms of budgeting, maybe have a 2-year budget process. But without that core reform, I fear that we're just going to continue to have this kind of stalemate that unfortunately has really stigmatized our state.
Tell us about your vision for the future of California.
Well, as I said earlier, I think that California has a great history and a great state. And so many people who came before us made incredible sacrifices to get us to where we're at today. I mean, they sacrificed in World War II, they came back, and then they began building highways, they began building a great higher education system. They said these are things that are important. We developed a water system that helped the state grow. Governor Brown Pat Brown made a lot of incredible infrastructure improvements. And so I think that California ultimately is going to continue on that path once we get this economic challenge, these incredible economic times behind us. We're going to continue to go forward in that vein. And the things that have made California great in the past will continue to really underscore why we have that capacity in the future. But I think that Californians will do it. I think that Californians will, they're much more about just me. Californians think about the state as a whole. I think that we can be called upon to make the appropriate sacrifices to support kids, to support public education, to support our higher education, to help us build better highways, to improve our environment. I think Californians want to do that. And so for me, I see a California that has been great and required sacrifice in the past and people coming together, and I think we can do that, and I think we will.
Thank you.
Thank you.